Hello everyone, you're watching a Gears of War 4 video, and it's been quite some time since I put one out, and that's just for a couple reasons that are really not worth going into great detail over. The first one just being that school has been very busy for me, and the second is I just haven't quite felt like posting. I'm going to start a new approach, I think, where I just post when it's convenient for me instead of trying to hit my one video a week quota. And that just reflects where I am at in life and where I think Gears is and my YouTube channel, given that this game has now been out for a year. And that's actually the topic of this video, is just a year-end review for Gears of War 4, seeing as how it's been out for a year now. So I'm just going to talk about where the game is, in my opinion, the state of it, if you will, what can be done to keep the player base, and where I think Gears of War is going. The first thing I want to just kind of mention is how Gears of War 4 is doing on its face, or in general. I think when you look at Gears 4, when you think about the campaign, the horde mode, and the player versus player aspect of the game, it is an incredible game, well worth the value of what you would pay for the standard edition. And I specify the standard edition just because I think if you start considering the seasons pass, then it becomes a bit more questionable, where your kind of opinion lies with Gears of War 4. But the standard edition of the game is quite well worth the money in my opinion, and even some may say that the seasons pass adds value. So I think Gears 4 is an incredible game, and it's often not praised as much as it should be, really, when you compare it to the kind of other titles that you can get for the same price tag as this game. And I think that's just in large part due to kind of the core audience that Gears has always had. It's a very much a cult following with some casual players here and there. But after you play a game for so long, players, I think, start to develop a mindset of what they think the game should include or what it shouldn't include, how weapons should be, or just anything about the game, really, how it should be. And all of a sudden we become an authority on the game, and then we start getting really frustrated with the things we don't like instead of appreciating the things that we do. And quite honestly, if you didn't like the game, you wouldn't be playing it. So it's kind of funny to me when I see people who are ready to kind of throw Gears of War 4 under the bus and then they can continue to play. But I think that's just something that's natural in the kind of gaming world. I think when you think about what Gears 4 has done, it's really revitalized the series as a whole. Before Gears 4, we had Gears Ultimate Edition, which was a great, fun game, but really a remake and nothing new. And before that, we had Gears of War Judgment, which in my opinion put the game on crutches. So Gears of War 4, or the series, on crutches. Gears of War 4 comes around, and we have a new Gears game that, in my opinion, has done an excellent job of revitalizing the series. The gameplay is really solid. You're getting post-launch support. The competitive scene is thriving. You have that international perspective. So this is, for players like myself, just a huge, happy, good thing that you can be optimistic and positive about. I find it funny when people say, oh, Gears 4 is dead or it's a bad game. I don't know if those people played Judgment or they kind of saw what happened after Gears 3, which was a fine game in my opinion, and then Gears Judgment comes out and it really just shot the series in the legs a few times. So Gears 4, it's an incredible game, and quite frankly, I do think it's the best Gears game that we have had in terms of gameplay and fun. It's not without its flaws. I've complained before that the reused, recycled maps are really not great. There was an issue with microtransactions and probably several other issues that I have forgotten about, but at the same time, the Coalition has made efforts through their post-launch support to alleviate or eliminate some of these issues we've been having. So the microtransactions are nowhere near as bad as they used to. We've got a lot of weapon tuning updates, so it's really good to see the developers sinking in time to the game and showing that they're also continuing to support and spend time on the game, just as the players who still play it are. And that's just great news and not something that we've had for every Gears game. So when you're thinking about a year-end review, you really have to give credit where credit's due, and the Coalition has made plenty of effort to alleviate some of the problems and issues with the game. It's by no means flawless. We still have some issues that haven't been addressed, and it's quite clear that it will not get addressed now, but this is also not the final game in the series. Not that that's an excuse, but also you should factor in my opinion, that people are not infallible, and Gears, the Coalition is relatively new. I think they got a lot right, and there's some that they didn't get right, and it's clear it won't be addressed now. But no game is flawless, so which is really why I liked to look at Gears of War 4 on its face, because it does deserve massive amount of credit. And I really hope that undue pessimism isn't going to kind of trick people into thinking this isn't a worthwhile game or worthwhile series. I have myself played less than I used to, and will probably continue to play less than I used to, but that has less to do with the quality of the game than it does with just the game being out for a while. The funny thing about the year-end review is it's also coming at a time where I'm thinking, okay, things are winding down. Gears is not as exciting as it used to be when it initially launched, nor should it be. Every game kind of has that honeymoon phase where people are super excited, but right now I think we're in a phase where the player population is probably declining or at a steady pace, not necessarily growing. I don't have numbers to back that up. That's just purely anecdotal experience of playing the same players that I've seen before. So that's just something that comes with time, and also why I'm posting less. I'm not sure about other YouTube channels, but even in terms of viewership, the viewership has been declining for my channel, at least for most videos, and that's just because, like I said, things aren't as fresh or as new as they used to be, and that's what you can expect after a game has been out for 12 months. I think the continued support that the Coalition has provided, and apparently they're committed to providing more post-launch support past the 12 months period which they promised, and that's good news as well. I think that is one way to really keep your audience. And I guess I kind of jumped the gun here, because one of the kind of questions to consider is how can Gears of War 4 keep its audience before Gears 5 comes out. Obviously it'd be great to see that the player base is still active and enjoying the game. For me, obviously new maps, and I mean new maps, not remakes, would have made a huge difference, because you would have been able to form new experiences. But I also think that one of the gaps that I've seen or have wanted to be seen addressed in Gears of War 4 is the whole playlist situation. We haven't really seen any new game types, and we haven't seen too many new playlists, in my opinion, that would attract me as a player who likes the competitive atmosphere. The kind of special playlists, whether it's One Shot, One Kill, or any of the other ones they have, don't really capture my attention as much. I would have loved to see even just a playlist that properly has Team Deathmatch ranked with the competitive settings. I think competitive warm-up is great, but I'm a player who likes to play for the rankings, so it would be a lot of fun for me, who likes the competitive weapon tunings, to be able to play Team Deathmatch with those tunings and rankings. This is obviously nothing new. This has been said plenty of times, but it's something that now I'm thinking, that's something that is now detracting my attention away from this game. And the core competitive split is something that I figured would do this. It was kind of like that silent bomb that you knew was going to cause problems, but not really be apparent until much later, and it's starting to feel that way. So, and as far as the game types go, I do not think we have seen a single new game type introduced, and I think the game types we had for the most part, except for escalation maybe, are really nothing new and out of the ordinary. So it's not exactly different from previous Gears titles. I would have loved to see a new playlist as somebody who plays PvP a lot, or sorry, new game type. I think that would have really kept things fresh. But there's also only so much you can do when it comes to keeping the game alive. So kind of running out of time here, but I think my underlying message here is just that, I'm, as I mostly am, I think, very positive about the way Gears of War 4 turned out and what the game has to offer. And I do think people kind of need to relax and take it easy on the game. There's only so much you can accomplish in one game, and I think the future is looking pretty bright in terms of what we can expect for Gears 5. And I'll probably be playing Gears 4 from time to time, but now it's kind of nothing new. We've all been around the block, so to speak. Even making videos to help players improve seems somewhat unnecessary at this point, just because the game has been out for quite some time. And I think Gears 4 has done a great job of putting the series in a place that it can really work with. And I'm even playing Horde and enjoying that and excited for the campaign. So that's really enough out of me. I'll continue to try to post videos, definitely when I feel like it. Still very much enjoy being active with YouTube and hearing comments from people, which is why I want to know, what is your year-end review for Gears of War 4? Do you like where we're at? Where do you think we're heading? What could be done to keep your attention? Are you even playing these days anymore? Are you kind of optimistic like me, or are you kind of pessimistic? And if so, please back up your responses, as you know, reasoning is, in my opinion, very necessary for anybody who wants their conclusions to be taken seriously. So happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate, and thank you very much for watching. I will talk to you soon.
To your left, Sam, behind you. Oh god.
That would be quite disappointing.
Ooh, they're high.